So in this session, we are going to discuss about the RESTful web services, representational state transfer. It is another flavor of the web services or SOA implementation. One is SOAP-based web services. It is purely based on XML messaging. On top of that, SOAP protocol we are using for messaging. And light version of the SOAP-based web services is the RESTful web services. This is completely based on HTTP capabilities. So here HTTP protocol is explored to the maximum extent. So you will see in detail how these HTTP capabilities are explored to implement the web services. So here main focus is HTTP is the protocol that is used for communication, and whatever capabilities are there extensively used in the RESTful web services. So you know all these things. If we recap the capabilities of the HTTP, there are some kind of methods are there, right? One is the get method, post method, put method, delete method, trace, options, and connect. These are the methods, operations that you can perform by using this HTTP protocol, right? Get is basically used to read particular content. For read operation, we are using get operation, and another one is a post operation. Post is used to create a new resource or new web page or new content. If you want to create something new, then we are using the post operation of HTTP. And put is another operation that is used to update. Some resource is existing, some web page is existing, or some web resource is existing. You want to update it. If you want to update, then we are using the put operation, right? And you want to delete existing resource or existing web content, then we are using delete operation of the HTTP, right? And rest of the things are trace and options. These are the things to debug or to troubleshoot if something is not working as per expectation. If we want to find it out where something is going wrong, then we can use it. But extensively, we are using these four operations: get to, put to, post to, and delete. And these four operations are very, very useful for the RESTful web services. So all kinds of CRUD operations. CRUD is nothing but in a database management system, you might have heard about this CRUD, right? Create, read, update, and delete. So using these four operations, you can do this CRUD operation on any particular web resource. So this is the power of it. Let us see how you can write RESTful web services and what is representational state transfer. There may be several resources will be there over the net. What kind of mechanism we should use to identify these resources uniquely. Unique resource identification mechanism is very, very important to perform any of these operations, right? So that is very, very important. We are going to look into it. So you know this is how the communication happens. Generally, we are using our browser as a client, and we are using HTTP protocol, and using that HTTP protocol, we can invoke it, right? And then we can get back the response. So something like that, it happens. It is just using the HTTP, we can generate HTTP request and we can get back the HTTP response, right? If we want to read a particular web page, then we are using a get operation on particular URI, right? And the host is, you know, these are part of your URL, host, and then your resource. And if the resource is available on the web server, it will return the code that is 200. There are some kind of codes will be there, whether requested information is there or not, or the correct request or wrong request. These are different conventions are there, different possibilities are there, different all those possibilities, different codes are given. So by looking into this code, response code, we can check it out whether request is fulfilled or the requested resource is available on particular server or not. And we can check it out. We can get all the information based on these written codes. I think you know all these things. That is not the point here. And point here is about the representational state transfer. Representation of the state transfer. Some resource, any kind of web resource, that web resource can be transferred to the requested client, requested request, whoever is the request. It may be a browser or it may be some other application, or it can be requested from some other service also. It can be any client, any type of client. So whatever resource is requested, we can get those resources. You can transfer the request and get back the response of the requested resource from particular server over the HTTP server or HTTP protocol. Sorry. So it is a style of architectural for distributed hypermedia systems such as World Wide Web. It introduced, actually it is these RESTful web services was proposed by Rayfield in his PhD dissertation, PhD thesis. He explored the capabilities of HTTP protocol to implement these web services, which are addressing the limitations of SOAP-based web services. So these are thesis contribution. Part of thesis, these RESTful web services are emerged into the market, are emerged. So collection of network architectural principles which outline how resources are defined and addressed. He proposed a new schema. Using that schema, you can define any resource, any web resource, and there is a unique representation of those resources. Resources can be represented uniquely. Like you can identify any unique record based on the primary key value, right? In your RDBMS, based on the primary key, we can identify uniquely any record in the given table, right? Similarly, there is a mechanism in the RESTful web services. Using that mechanism, you can identify any resource, any specific resource uniquely. That's what the point here. We will see all those things. And yeah, these two REST is complete, almost like HTTP only. So from the browser, you may ask how to generate the request using these different operations: get operation, put operation, post operation, or delete operation. So from the browser, you can generate only get operation. You can invoke only get operation, right? Reading, accessing particular website is completely based on the get operation. But put operation, post operation, and delete operations are not possible from the address bar of the any browser, right? Any browser, it is not possible. Otherwise, we have to use some kind of HTML elements, either forms like the forms or some kind of iframes we have to use. But that is not that easy, not flexible. So we are going to use some of the tools. You can use the SOAP UI. SOAP UI is the one of the tool where you can specify all these operations: put operation, post operation, get operations. Any HTTP operation on a specific URL, you can specify. Even you can specify the header field contents, and what are the receiving header field contents, what are the request header field contents. If you want to add a new header field for a particular resource, we can put all these things. So to work with RESTful web services, we should familiar with SOAP UI or Postman. These are some of the tools you can download. It is an open source, and there we can directly specify what operation you want to do on particular resource. From the browser, we cannot specify any operation, put to, get put to, put to post and delete operations. Only get operation we can perform. Even you cannot be adding the header field contents or manipulating the header field content, either request header field content or response header field contents are not that easy from the browser. So these tools are very, very helpful. So I can give you a brief introduction how to use the. This is the Postman. You can download from your Google. You go to the Chrome browser, google.com. Even you can get plugin also. Google.com Postman. Postman download. Yeah, this is the Postman app. You can download. You can click on here and then you can download it. It is very simple. This is my Mac. That's why it is already detected. For Windows, you have to, based on 32, based on your operating system, you can select 32 or 64 and you can download it. So this Postman UI, you are able to see my Postman UI, right? So this is the address bar, and in this drop down list we can specify different operations. Are you able to see this Postman UI?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you. This is the just operations. These are the different operations that you can specify, and this is the URL. On particular URL, whatever operations. If you want to read this one, then we have to select the get operation. If you want to create a new resource, then we have to select the post operation. And if you want to perform some kind of a deleting particular resource, whatever you entered in the address bar, we have to select particular operation that you want to perform. For time being, I want to read google.com, and then you can click on the send button. Send button. You can then this is the top one is about the request. The request URL. This is the request URL, and the particular operation on particular on specific URL, and these are nothing but parameters, header parameters, and what kind of authentication is required, and what are the additional default and additional header key value pair, and if you want to send some kind of body, we can put it here, and some kind of script also. If you want to validate something, we can put. These are the different things that you can. Even the cookies also we can specify. This is the cookie. You can create cookie values for a specific domain and all. I will show you how to do all these things, but to give you some basic idea, we are going through this. And this is about the top section is about request URL, request operation, and then these are nothing but your parameters. Parameters, what kind of parameter, what is the key value, key name of the parameter and value of the parameter, and all those things. And this is the, if some kind of authentication is there, here you can specify what kind of authentication is required, supported by this URL, and that information you can specify. And this is nothing but a request header content. All these are header key value and key and values you can specify here. Even in the request, you can put some kind of body. You can put all those things here in the different formats. This is nothing but some kind of key value pair. This is raw format is anything you can put it based on your requirement, and this is a binary. These are different things are supported. This is about the top section is only about the request, and if you come down, this is the whatever is there in the down, that is nothing but a response part of it. Here this is the body, and this is the cookies. These are the different cookies that you get it from this request URL, and these are the different headers. These are the different headers of your response, and these are nothing but you can validate, you can write some script and all. Actually this is the body, this body is going to be rendered. This is the actual content of your request URL that will be parsed by your browser, and then you are getting very good visible UI, right? This is what this is how we have to use it. And after setting that, you we click on the send operation, we are going to get like this, right? Same thing. And even if you try yahoo.com, yahoo.com, and this is the yahoo.com response. Get, yeah, this is the yahoo response body, and we are reading, right, all these things. So if you copy this one, Control A, Control C, and come to browser, new, save it. You can save it as Yahoo. Landing page.html. Okay, HTML. Now you go to your browser, you open this one, open with Chrome. Where is the Chrome? Okay, you open with anyone. Where is this? Yeah, this is the Yahoo web page, right? So this is from the that whatever you got the response content, from the response content we got it, right? Copy pasted that one, whatever you got it in Postman. So this is how we have to use it anyway. We are going to use all these things very extensively when we try to implement our own web services, all those things. So it gives just a brief idea how to use this, and whatever you URLs you, whatever operations on specific URLs you can get it from this panel. You can go to this and then we can access it specific thing. That's how we can use this one. So let us go through our content. This is what the brief idea about how to use this Postman. Okay, go through our content presentation. This is that's how we are going to use HTTP protocol and then request response. These are the different operations. This is extensively using HTTP capabilities. And if you want to implement these RESTful web services, there is a library called JOXRS. JOX is nothing but a Java API, Java API XML for RESTful web services. Java API for RESTful web services. You can do anything. Your response, your communication, your data can be represented not only in XML, in any form. You can exchange the data. That's what one of the major capabilities of RESTful web services. If you take SOAP-based web services, the data the data you should be in the supported by in XML. But in RESTful web services, the data can be in any form, not only in XML, HTML also you can get, even in the some kind of images or some kind of JSON files, All these are possible, different forms of response you can get it. But whenever you try to understand these RESTful web services, there are three pillars. First pillar is in object-oriented programming, there are four pillars, right? Inheritance, polymorphism, data encapsulation, and then abstraction, right? Like that, these are the four concepts in the object-oriented programming. But similarly, in the RESTful web services, the resource is the one of the main thing. First, one of the fundamental core of this RESTful web service. On particular resource, we have to perform some kind of an operation, either read operation or write operation or update operation or delete operation, right? Okay, this is we can specify this is nothing but some kind of operation or some kind of a verb that you want to perform on particular resource. Okay, you are performing it, how you are going to communicate, in what form you are going to communicate, because this is supported by different kinds of communications. Not only in XML, you have to specify your communication in specific form, either XML, JSON, HTML, or some kind of a text message, or what is that form you have to specify, the representation of the media type, the communication between your request, your client, and then your server, in what form you want. If you want to read particular resource, okay, the information, the reading information should be formatted in which form, XML form or JSON form, JSON, or in the text file or HTML file, what form you are expecting. So you have to specify. You have to specify server side as well as the requesting side also. So server used to have all these capabilities. The response can be generated in different forms. So which form is required? That in the request also we have to specify. So this media, this representation of the communication or representation of the data, the request data or the response data, because it's supported by different forms, different ways you can communicate. So we have to specify it. So these are the three things we have to be very careful whenever we have to deal, whenever you are planning to, whenever you are designing particular RESTful web services. Resource is very important, and resource is nothing but a simple unique representation of the particular resource. So no two resources or no two records should be with the same unique ID, the resource ID. Each record or each resource should be with unique representation. URI should be unique. There is some kind of mechanisms are there. Suppose if you look into this one, example.com employees, and in the employees, if you want to read specific first employee, then we are going to specify after employees first one. One is going to specify first record, first employee, where employee ID is equal to 1. If you want to 100th employee, where employee year after employees, we can specify 100. 100 means it is going to refer 100 employee. Or if you want to specify, if you want to do some kind some operation on 1, 2, 3, 4 employee, then we are going to specify 1, 2, 3, 4 employee. And on top of this employee, this URI, what kind of operation? You want to read that particular URI, or if you want to create a new URI, to create a new URI, you have to use post operation. You want to update that particular URI. If that is the case, we have to specify put operation. Or if you want to delete that particular employee, then we have to specify on particular URI delete operation. And how you want to transfer the data response. Suppose if you want to read, if you are performing the read operation on particular URI, then the response should be in which form? XML form or JSON, or what form you are expecting? The form also, the requested form also should be supported by the server. Server side capability should be there. So you have to specify all these things while dealing with RESTful web services. That's what the point here. And the client can can contact the server through HTTP request, and server can take that request and then process it. Here the point is this client as well as the server can implement these can be implemented using these RESTful APIs. That's what the point. And if you want to see how you are going to specify these URLs, each record uniquely. Suppose if you take a web page in the general website, we are using some kind of parameters, right? First one is nothing but a protocol. After protocol, host, and after that you are specifying your application, your project name. After the project name, you are specifying particular resource, particular web page. And after the web page, if you want to pass the data, we are using the parameters, right? The parameters, and then your URI will be separate, used to be separated by the question mark, right? That's what the convention we are using in your websites to represent or to interact with your websites. In the same way, if you are using in the RESTful web services, the parameters can be specified. Okay, you want to get the weather information of the zip code 12345. So this is the parameter 12345 is nothing but a zip code. From that zip code, for a specific zip code, we want to get the weather information. So this is nothing but 12345 is nothing but a parameter. And here also same thing. You want to get the weather information of the Brazil. After countries, this is nothing but a, suppose if you look into this zip code and countries are nothing but a common name. Common name. It is like a table name, and 1234 is refers to the particular record, specific record. Countries is nothing but a table name, and Brazil is nothing but a maybe primary key value, where you want to read the weather information, where country primary key value is equal to Brazil, something like that. So that's how you are going to. This is nothing but a get messages is nothing but a particular operation in our website. Here what we are doing is here this is what this is the URL messages slash we want to refer the 10th message. 10th message, that's why after messages is nothing but a collective name or a folder name or a table name or a group name. Under that group we want to refer the 10th message. So we are specifying the 10th, and if you want to create a new 10th message on top of this URI, you can specify the for creation you can specify the post operation, and if you want to delete it, then on top